In the early 1980s, the Shah of Iran had fallen, and at that time there were many Iranian students, sons, some daughters of the Savak leaders and the upper middle class who were tied to the Shah, who were taking classes at UCLA where I was teaching at the time, teaching part-time, and I was teaching a class, junior class for electrical engineers, and two of the students that I had in the class cheated on the final. And there are various ways that I could detect that and knew that was to be true. At the time, I was working part-time and teaching part-time, so I talked to the professor who was in charge of the part-time teachers that I was about what we should do. And one of the concerns that we had was whether we should fail the student and kick them out of the school, which was in our purview. What are the possibilities that we could do for cheating, when we knew that if that happened, it was a possibility they would lose their visa, have to go back to Iran, and be killed because they were members of the family who were supporting the Shah. And the question came up was, what should one do? On one hand, there was the thought that grades were an artificial construct. This is the 1980s, so it was 10 years into the postmodern period when concepts of absolute values were being questioned right and left, and also 15 years after the same questions came up regarding male students in colleges who had their draft deferments based on being students. Could you fail them? Then they would have to go fight in Vietnam. So that was on one side of things. On the other side of the things was the concept that we as students and as teachers have bought into the academic model. We've volunteered to be in college. We've agreed that whether grades as a concept are real or representative or whatever, that we've bought into the game of the doing of it, that we've signed our name to it and have agreed that that is the way that we are going to conduct ourselves. And that's the bargain that we made. So what was I going to do? Was I going to fail these person, have them kicked out of school? Or some combination of the two? In the end, what I decided to do was to go with the agreement that I made in my life, and I thought that these students had made in their lives as well. So what I decided to do, and which is what we did, was we confronted the students, and then I failed them in the class, which meant that they had to repeat the class, but I did not insist, and neither did the professor in charge of all the part-time teachers, did not insist that they be kicked out of the school at that particular time. This was a kind of sentence for an unethical act on their part that was halfway between the worst and halfway between the best being that they would have to repeat a test or something like that. But I felt it was the right thing to do.